Hey, this is Timothy Sykes, multi-millionaire trader and mentor, and I am very proud to introduce my newest DVD guide called Trader Checklist: How to Choose the Best Trades and Prepare Before Risking Your Hard-Earned Money. Uh, I think this is going to be an amazing guide for you guys to really choose the best trades and to handle them properly and have the right expectations so that you can have the best odds of success. So let's get into it. First, this is me, by the way. Just wanted to show you a picture of who I am. Some people don't like to share their lives or their names or who they are, but teaching and trading is my life, and I do it from everywhere. I've been to over 100 countries, and I love the freedom that this job gives me, both in trading and teaching. This is me in Turks and Caicos. I'm also always working. You won't have this problem, okay? I'm doing double time because I'm trading during the day and then I'm teaching at night. I'm actually filming this at nighttime. You don't have to work as hard as I do. I'm trying to do everything I can to help you and guide you because I never had a mentor. And that really stinks. So I'm trying to be the mentor to you that I never had to make it easier. So don't be put off by how hard I work. I'm trying to make it easier for you so that you don't have to put in these crazy hours that I have all these years. But first, before we get into this, I got to go over this disclaimer. If you want to read it in full, pause this and you can read it. But long story short, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a broker. I am not an accountant. I have no degrees whatsoever for finance or trading. I was actually a philosophy major. But I have made quite a bit of money and I have created a few millionaire students along the way. So those are my qualifications. If you feel that you need somebody with like a diploma, I don't even know if there are diplomas for stock trading. By all means, seek out professional help. Always consult your accountant. This stuff that I teach and that I actually trade, it's risky. So I don't want you thinking that this is going to be some low risk venture. Stock trading, and especially low price stock trading and day trading and short selling, all the stuff that I specialize in, it's some of the riskiest stuff that you can do in all of finance. That said, I think with enough education and preparation, you can reduce the risks, and the rewards I think are greater than the risks. But I have to say all this, legally speaking, because I am not going to manage money for you. I don't manage money for anybody. I don't want you following my alerts. I don't want you buying stocks that I buy. Everything that I share is to help you learn how to create your own plan. I know it's weird. I know most people in my industry aren't so obsessed with teaching. They just want to give you hot picks and hot alerts. And they have chat rooms where it's just they mention the ticker and they bought it here and everyone follows suit. That's not me, okay? I'm here for the education, and I think that's why I have the most millionaire students. But understand that this stuff is risky. Information is always changing. The stocks are moving quickly, and just because some of my students have had great success, that doesn't mean that all of my students are going to have great success. In fact, if you actually look at industry stats, 90% plus of traders lose money. So I'm not going to promise you, candy canes and lollipops and gingerbread houses. This is not Fantasy Island or the North Pole. This is reality. And all I can try and do is share my expertise that I have learned the hard way over 18 years. And hopefully it can help you make, smarter, better, wiser, more profitable trades. That's it. Let's get into who I am. I am famous, I guess, internet famous for turning 12,000 into over 4.4 million now, trading penny stocks. It could be much more, but I also trade with a very small account in order to teach. I am quite opposite of most people on Wall Street who are obsessed with trading with the most amount of money and taking management fees and managing billions and trying to make 10 to 20% per year. I'm much more interested in teaching the average person exactly how you can turn, a few thousand into a few million. I do think it's possible, but it takes a lot of hard work and guidance. And a mentor, I think, can really help cut down your learning time. I've also starred in several TV shows: Wall Street Warriors, Below Deck, New Money, and I've been featured on The Steve Harvey Show, Larry King, ABC, CNN, CBS, CNBC, Fox News, Fox Biz, Inc.com, Reuters, Business Week, Forbes, TMZ, MarketWatch, MSN Money, Yahoo Finance, TheStreet.com, The New York Post, The New York Observer, and The New York Times, and so many more. I love to get my story out there because I am not that smart. I'm not that great at math. And I think that because I'm just kind of an average guy, average guys or average girls out there can do the exact same if you have perseverance. I do not have average work ethic or dedication. My mom instilled in me from a very young age a crazy work ethic. The reason why I got into the stock market in the first place was due to a tennis injury, and it was because I lost in the state finals my junior year of high school, and I vowed to win senior year of high school, and I overtrained and I injured myself. And now my dad calls it the $1 million injury. But it was due to that crazy work ethic, and that is what I now bring to you guys in teaching. I have helped thousands of people become profitable traders, and I have created a handful of millionaires along the way, with dozens of students earning six figures and now even six figures per year too. So I do believe this niche, while the whole world hates on it, is actually pretty profitable once you learn its intricacies and subtleties. You can't just go in thinking every penny stock is going to be the next Microsoft. That's how the vast majority of the world thinks, and that's how the vast majority of the world loses on penny stocks. So you have to think differently. And I think by the time you finish watching this guide, I will help you to think differently. Here is me, just an example of how I think differently. Instead of just taking a picture with me and the bull on Wall Street, I actually jumped on it. It's just a good example of how I think differently. And I have an incredible photo here captured. I actually have video of this too, and I got pulled down a few seconds later, but this picture will live on forever, and it was a great experience. So just an example of how I like to, do what other people don't do, and I have more fun doing it. Here's my top student, Tim Grittani. Here's just some photos. Just want to inspire you to show you what's possible. My students are real. I know there's a lot of people in finance where they're like, Michael R. has made $70,000. Joe N. has made $40,000. Well, actually, Tim Grittani is a real guy. He came on Fox with me. This was when our CNN article went viral. And you can see here, actually, in my first 4 years, I turned 12,000 into roughly 1.65 million. This was in his first 3 years, 1,500 into a million. And now, as I'm filming this, it's his fourth year, and he just passed 3 million. So he has nearly doubled what I did my first 4 years. And I also had the bubble market, and he did not. He's had a strong bull market, but he didn't have the bubble. So I would say it's safe to say that he has done better than me. And I think it's also safe to say that it's with my own help, because I was trading so stupid and I made so many boneheaded mistakes for the first few years of my career because I didn't have anybody guiding me. So this is an advantage for you guys. Here's Tim and I on Fox and Friends, when he crossed $1 million. Here's our CNN headline. These are real articles and real TV interviews. Some people think like I actually Photoshop this stuff. You can Google Tim Grittani CNN and you can see this article. We did not pay for this article. We did not pay for any TV appearances. This is the press reaching out to us because we share every trade publicly and transparently. In my industry, there's a lot of people who claim success, but they don't show every trade publicly. They don't show audits, tax returns, income statements that my top students and I do. So this was actually just a few months ago, me and Steve Harvey, and we also brought two of my students. This is Michael Good. He's actually my first millionaire student, now closing in on 2 million. And Ivan is just a part-time trader, but he's passed $200,000 in profits, and we're all on Steve Harvey. That was a fantastic interview. Steve Harvey is the man. And I'm sorry to say, I actually enjoyed this interview more than I did with this, media legend, Larry King, who I thoroughly enjoyed. But with Larry, it was a great interview, but it was like bing, bam, boom, and we did the interview and then it was done. As opposed to Steve Harvey, where he went way off script and just kept asking us questions. There was a live studio audience. We were there for hours. The TV show, the footage that you see filmed, is highly edited, but he was actually really interested in learning. And so were his producers. I've actually been in contact with several Steve Harvey producers about learning. And I love it. I'll teach anybody. But these were just tremendous honors in the past few months. Steve Harvey and Larry King, interviewing little old me from Orange, Connecticut. Kind of crazy. But I love it. It's all been a journey for me. I also won an award from President Obama for being one of the young educational leaders, and I got to go to the White House, and that was a tremendous honor. I'm not political, Democratic or Republican. I'm too focused on trading and teaching. But when the president sends you something and you get something in the mail from the White House, that's a pretty awesome thing. So I took a picture of it. It was just pretty sweet. I also have this track record here. We actually have to update these numbers because they just keep moving. I'm now up over 300% now in 2016. But I want you to understand what's possible. And now, I know these numbers look crazy because most people in finance are making, 5, 10, maximum 20% per year. And here I am with these, 38, 66, 173, 180%, 194% numbers. And you're like, well, this seems too good to be true. How is this possible? It's not too good to be true. It is possible, but there is some downside with this. You can't do my strategy with millions of dollars, let alone billions of dollars like most people on Wall Street. So my strategy, as you'll learn, is very low-hanging fruitish for, just small accounts. If you have 2,000, 5,000, 20,000, 50,000, even 100 or 200,000. And I guess, you could go up to 500,000 or a million. But if you're trying to do my strategy with like 5 million or 10 million or 20 million, it's going to get tough. There are a few people out there who do it, but trust me when I say it's much better for the average person. And this is why, this is my profit graph of over 4.4 million. One of my critics actually broke down my numbers since I began teaching because the critic, and I don't even remember the name or anything. I have some critics. It's kind of funny. I'll get into them in a second. I don't have to hide anything. The beauty of being real is that I welcome all debate. But my critic was saying, well, Tim, since you began teaching, you really haven't even earned $1 million. And what he doesn't realize is that, well, I started teaching in late 2007. So this was only 2 months of data. And then I'm trading with just $12,000. So when I'm, turning my 12,000 into over 100,000 in 3 years or 2.5 years of teaching, that's pretty good. And then I traded with bigger accounts in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. 2014 was my best trading year ever. And I'm very proud of that. Some people say, oh, Tim, you only made money during the bubble. I make money every year. And a lot of it just comes down to actually, what do I start my account size at? How's my teaching going? Because, this isn't an exact science that I'm teaching here in trading or even my, teaching style. Everything has been changing and in flux, and I try and adapt to, what works best for my students and what works best for my ego and what works best for my time. So I'm constantly changing the dollar amount. In fact, this year, 2016, when I'm filming this, I went back to 12,000. And as we're filming this in July, so roughly 7 months into the year, my 12,000 has grown to 72,000. So roughly 6 times your money in 7 months. So when I say, look, I create millionaires, I am a millionaire. Yes, I have never had $1 million earning year in trading profits alone. A lot of that is because I'm trading with a small account, but at the same time, I don't care. I don't care if I earn $1 million or 844,000 or even 393,000. what I'm trying to show you is that this strategy can make money year in, year out in bear markets, in bull markets, whether you're trading with a bigger account or a smaller account. It's very opportunistic. And that'll, again, make more sense by the time you finish watching this. But don't be put off if I don't necessarily make $1 million in a year. Some of my students have made over $1 million in a year because they're not, basically tied down with one hand behind their back trying to teach all the time and give video lessons and live commentary. That does hurt my own trading ability. And I'm going to be, very upfront about that. But I love teaching and I love trying to multitask, trade and teach at the same time. And that's an art in itself. But long story short, I want to be realistic with the money that I'm making from trading and that my students are making from trading so that you can get an idea. If you watch my video lessons every day, I show sometimes 5, sometimes 10, lately like 20, 30, 40, even 50 students the other day who make $500, $1,000, $2,000 in a day. And that's kind of a good barometer of what you can earn trading these kinds of stocks, trading my kind of style. And even though it seems like it's kind of, you're studying all this time and it's not really worth it, and then you make $500 in a day, or maybe you lose 300, and it's kind of frustrating. But I want you to understand that most of my successful students, it takes time, not 1 week, not 1 month, sometimes not even 1 year before they really get, their groove of buying and shorting these stocks. Remember, I'm teaching a niche that everyone thinks is totally worthless and has written off and thinks that I'm either lucky or a fraud. No one would ever think that there's strategy and logic behind every trade. So I'm trying to achieve kind of the impossible here. Here is just a good graphic I thought to share with you since my last DVD guide, Spikeability, which was a little, I don't even know, maybe a little over a year ago. But this is a good representation of what I've been doing. So last DVD I was at 4.22 million. Now I'm at 4.44 roughly. I've done 600 trades to achieve that. My winning percentage has gone up a little. I was at 73.89. Now I'm at 74.18. But my average dollar gain has gone down from 2,300 to 2,085, and that's just because I'm trading with a smaller account this year. But my average percent gain has also gone down from 7.08 to 6.9. And that's because I'm just, more conservative these days. Conservative, conservative, conservative. Even though I'm trading the most volatile stocks and I'm trading these risky strategies, or quote risky strategies, you'll really find that I'm one of the safest, most scared, most cowardly traders you'll ever meet. And I have a lot of students who are like, come on, Tim, just be brave. Like, stop trading like this. Stop getting out so early. But I am very proud to teach the cowardly trading method. I'm not embarrassed. Again, a lot of the assumptions that you might have of what you think you need to get rich are wrong. They're misconceptions. You do not need to use leverage. You do not need to be brave. You do not need to take these archaic trades with these crazy algorithms, and you have to be a math genius. You just have to take it one trade at a time and let the beauty of compounding do its magic. So anyways, here is James Altucher. Just to give you an idea, James has been in the hedge fund world and on Wall Street for several decades. He's one of my favorite bloggers, and he said this, in an interview. I know thousands of day traders, thousands. I know one successful day trader, and that's Tim. And I was, tremendously honored by this because I don't know why I'm special. I don't know why I'm profitable and others aren't. All I can do is try and share my perspective. It probably has something to do with my work ethic and the fact that I've been, tinkering with this stuff. Even if I'm not trading, I'm studying. And I'm always trying to adapt, and I'm always trying to look for, what patterns are working, what setups are working, and I'm trying to learn from my own trades and refine, refine, refine. So I do think that you could probably learn everything that I've learned in the past 18 years If you don't have a crazy work ethic or a lot of time, it might take you 25 to 30 years. Um, and I'm trying to cut that down by sharing everything I've learned, all the most important things, the good, the bad, the ugly. Um, Again, I don't want you studying 25 or 30 years or even 2 or 3 years. I think I can really cut it down dramatically if you pay attention and take notes. So what makes a successful trader? Being prepared ahead of time on every trade. This is why I am making this guide, because I see time and again too many people just want to, follow their gut or trust some pick from their cousin or somebody that they heard, or follow some new possibly good technology. That is not being prepared, okay? It's all about discipline. No gambling, no trading just for the thrill or the action. This is not Vegas. This is not throwing die on a table or, picking red or black. I want you to have the odds on your side. Okay? I know that I gave my whole legal disclaimer that this stuff is risky, and it is. But my top students and I win 60, 65, 70, 75% of the time. No casino game in the world is that high. Most casino games are between 35 and 45% win rate. And that's why, the casino wins the majority of the time. That's why the casinos are so big, because all these schmucks are playing games where the odds are not in their favor, and they're trying to feel special. And they're trying to say, I beat the odds, I'm special. Well, I'm not special, okay? I don't want to beat the odds. I want to take trades that have good odds so that my regularity can still win time and again. Follow time-tested rules that I learned the hard way over 18 years. Trading only when the odds are in my favor, capitalizing on solid risk reward, and we'll get into that. But the key is waiting for the best plays, staying 100% cash. Oh, I got a typo. I got to tell you, I'm not going to be perfect too. Some people will say, oh, that's not professional. You're right, because I'm not a professional. So if I have typos, excuse me. If I have grammar problems, excuse me. If I get a little agitated, or I might even swear, excuse me. I am not a professional. I don't wear a tie. I don't want you to think that I'm a professional. So I'm going to have to say that a few times over and over again just to get it through your heads. I have created a few millionaire students along the way, but it's tough to create a millionaire even if you have the right attitude and the right mindset. But if you have the wrong attitude and the wrong mindset, and you think that this is an exact science, and you think that my grammar or spelling actually matters, it's going to be impossible for me to turn you into a millionaire. And that is not going to make me happy. My goal in life is more millionaires. I have a whole thing called the Millionaire Trading Challenge, where I give live webinars every single week. So do my top students. And it's all to create more millionaires. So we want to teach you, but you also have to work with us. And that involves having the right perspective. So have patience to wait for the best plays. And I will teach you what the best plays are. And have patience to learn trading. Don't think that you're going to make $1 million all in the first week or the first month or even the first year. Okay? Out of all my students, I only have one student who made $1 million. And that took him 3 years. Or he made $1 million in his first 3 years. That came out wrong. Okay? I have a few millionaire students, but only one did it in 3 years. So you're going to need patience. That said, once you have the knowledge, the million can become 2, 3, 4. As we see, compounding is beautiful. All right, so treat trading like a business, not a hobby. I know some people will say, oh, I just want to get into this. Like, give me a good trade, Tim. I don't even need to be a millionaire. I don't want to deal with your whole, hoopla and discipline. Just give me a good pick. No, okay? If you think that way, just stop this right now, because I cannot teach you if you don't take this seriously. Money is serious. This stuff can be life-changing if you let it. But if you treat it wrong, it's not going to be life-changing, and you're going to make me look bad. Okay? I want to look good. I love testimonials. I love teaching, but I love hearing about what you guys are doing. I had a student just today, I guess I got to add it to this guide later on. Eric just bought his wife a brand new car with trading profits, and he bought a house too. That's what I love seeing. And I have many more examples, but treat it like a business. Take this seriously. And you'll be able to trade from anywhere in the world as long as there's internet access. Each and every day I get people asking me, but I live here, but I live here. Can I do it here? Can I do it here? Well, you're asking me over the internet on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, email. So wherever you are, you have internet access, whether it's Wi-Fi, whether it's, a landline, whether you're using a laptop or mobile phone or smartphone or iPad or tablet. I don't care what you use. As long as you have internet access that allows for the little blinking green and red lights and the data to come through. That's the beauty of this job. Geographic freedom. There are a lot of people on Wall Street who make a lot more money than me, but they have to work on Wall Street and they have to slave away and they become addicted to Red Bull and cocaine, like most people on Wall Street. You don't need to do that. Red Bull and cocaine is not good for you. Except that you're only human. I make jokes too, by the way. Okay, I'm not serious about that. Not everyone on Wall Street is a drug addict. I'm just saying that you have to be there in New York physically to make a lot of the Wall Street money. And with my strategy, you don't. So, accept that you're only human. Accept that I'm only human. You and I will both make mistakes and be wrong sometimes. It is not the end of the world. Okay, I'm not like some crazy Romanian gymnastics coach where you have to be perfect to make the Olympic team. That is not this situation. We all make mistakes and it's okay. But what you can do and what you have to do is take advantage of the vast majority of penny stock traders and investors thinking that they've found the next Microsoft. There is an educational inefficiency with this niche, because most people are not going to sit through watching this guide. Most people only want hot picks, and most people think that if they find a hot pick with a good technology or a good product, and it could be the next Microsoft, they're going to put some money. They're going to put more money. They're going to put all their money into that. And that is why penny stocks are hated, because you shouldn't care about products or services. You should treat these stocks as just investment vehicles that you can buy and sell to increase your own profits. Trade the ticker, as Tim Grittani says. So you can also take advantage of the vast majority of penny stock traders and investors who are not preparing, thinking, or acting quickly. There is an informational inefficiency because most people do treat this only like a hobby and not like a business. Not everyone is so crazy about looking for the right patterns or looking for the right plays or even having enough cash on hand when the right play does come about because they're invested in some, other stock that they had a tip or a gut feeling on. So it's very important that you have the right structure, because then if you just invested in 10 different companies like most people, or 20 different companies, and you're, diversified, you don't have enough cash and you're not prepared when the right setup does come and you can't take advantage of it. So it's not really optional to just go off and do whatever you want if you want to have success with this strategy. I'm not saying that you have to be full-time. I'm not saying that you have to be, totally insane like me or several of my top students who do sit at the computer all day. But you do have to understand the framework of this to be prepared, because, the perfect plays come about sometimes every few days, sometimes every few weeks. And I hate it. I hate it when there's a student who just, doesn't have any money to play with this trade, because they're invested elsewhere in something that's low odds or something that's long term, and they're out of the game. It's very important that you get in the game, even if you're just studying. You don't have to trade right away. You don't have to trade big right away, but just get in the game and be prepared for this game. I know I'm talking generalities. It'll all make sense in a second. So, small profits add up over time. Just take it one trade at a time. This is a very, very hedge fund type mindset where you're looking to generate alpha. as opposed to most people who just buy and hold. They invest in mutual funds, bonds, and 5, 10, 20 different stocks so that they're diversified. I don't want that, okay? I stay in cash, ready, waiting like a sniper, waiting for the perfect shot. And I never, ever say, oh, I won on the past 3 trades. My next trade has to be profitable, or I just passed $100,000. Now my goal is 200,000. I don't want to set specific dollar amount goals or time set goals like, oh, I have work in an hour. Let me make a trade just in the next 20 minutes. When you try and impose your own will on the stock market, you will find that the stock market fights back and teaches you a few lessons. You cannot control the stock market. The plays will pop up when they want. Your account will grow when the good plays are there. At no other time will it grow. So you can't just say, oh, I just passed a certain amount. I want to grow it this much, X amount in X days. No, wrong mindset. No one trade will make me rich. But if I bet too big or get too cocky, one trade could ruin me. Always remember that, okay? All it takes is one big bad trade for you to be like, oh, I know I'm right. I know it. I know it's going to go up or I know it's going to go down. I'm so sure. And you bet big and you're wrong. And you lose a lot or you lose everything or you can even go into debt. So trading scared is key to my success. And because I'm trading the most volatile stocks, trading scared really isn't that bad. I'm still making solid profits. But when I'm wrong, I trade scared and I cut losses fast. I do not let small mistakes turn into big disasters. Okay? Don't let small mistakes turn into big disasters. When in doubt, get out. I said this in a trading challenge webinar the other day. Trading scared makes me not scared to trade. And I totally came up with it right during the webinar, but people loved it. And now I'm using it in this guide because it's true. Even though I'm trading scared on every trade, saying, oh, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? How am I going to react? Well, guess what? Having that mindset makes me not scared to make my next trade because no trade is scary now that I know that I will cut losses quickly when I'm wrong. Trading can be very scary if you break the rules. Trading can be very scary if you say, oh, I'm just going to hold this stock and whatever happens, happens. Well, yeah, if you're trading the most volatile stocks and whatever happens, happens, that can be very scary. So no different than, I have a Ferrari and a Lamborghini and I say driving them, they're not that scary. It's scary if you break the rules. If you're driving your Ferrari 200 miles an hour in a 35 mile an hour zone and you're drunk, then driving your Ferrari can be very scary. Driving any car at that amount, I don't think most cars can go 200 miles an hour, but if you're going 5, 7 times over the speed limit, not just 5 or 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, but, going way over the speed limit, you are setting yourself up for a crash. Maybe not this time. Maybe you're an excellent driver, but sometime in the future. You don't want to fight with fire, okay? You don't want to put yourself in that position of potential disaster. So what do? Well, I trade volatile low price stocks long and short, and I take the meat of the move. Remember that phrase. You'll never, ever see me having 100 to 200% winners. Even though sometimes these stocks do go up 100, 200, lately 500 or even 1,000% in a day. I always take profits quicker. At most, I will make 30 to 50% on a trade, which is fine for me. I'm filming this on a Monday. Today I made roughly $4,000. I held I held a few stocks over the weekend, but one of the stocks I held over the weekend, I made 35%. That is near best case scenario. So, and I'll talk about that trade in a little bit, but I want you getting used to taking, quote, small profits and not going for 100, 200, 300%, taking the meat of the move. Also, what makes a successful trader? Well, having the right tools. Use StocksToTrade.com software to catch breaking news, chart breakouts, breakdowns, analyze chart and level 2 price action. Stocks to Trade is a passion project of my team and I because frankly, there was no good software for low price stocks before Stocks to Trade. So we had to create it. And we've now spent roughly 2 years, 2.5 years, and 7 figures building this bad boy. And I'm very proud of it. And several thousand people already, since we introduced it, use it every single day. It's getting better every single day. We're introducing more and more features because it's made by traders for traders, as opposed to some of these big multi-billion-dollar companies that own software and they just don't know what traders want. Is really actually kind of frustrating. We tried to partner with some of these big companies and they just could not handle my feature requests. My programmers actually call me Princess Tim, just so you know. I just found out about this and I said, well, if I'm a princess, where's my pink crown and my little wand? Because I want that. But long story short, I'm high maintenance. I don't know if you can tell, if I can, if it comes across while I'm presenting this to you, but I've asked for a lot of features and my programmers are constantly busy building them. And I really think Stocks to Trade is something phenomenal. So I'm proud of it. You can email admin@timothysykes.com for some specials and mention this guide, and we will reward you for studying. Right now, my two main brokers are E-Trade and Interactive Brokers. No small firms, no prop firms, no hedge funds, no offshore brokers. Mark my words, winter is coming in the brokerage industry if you watch Game of Thrones. And what I mean by that is, we've been in a multi-year bull market. I don't know what's going to happen in a bear market. I don't know what's going to happen with financial regulations with some of these firms. So for me, I just want to stick with these two, multi-billion-dollar company brokers. So with brokers, I'm fine having the brokerage accounts with them. I'm just not fine using their softwares. I want my own software. But Interactive Brokers is good for international people. E-Trade, I believe, is only U.S. people. These are my two main brokers. I really am not a fan of most brokers. So this is my warning to you. Winter is coming. And I can't wait for the next few seasons of Game of Thrones. So I am a Game of Thrones addict. That is my one time of entertainment aside from teaching or traveling or trading. Also, don't try to guess the market or value companies. Just react to catalyst patterns that have worked for the past 2 decades. This is such an important bullet point. So many of you are like, oh, here's a product, here's a technology, what is it worth? I don't know if something is going to be worth, or a biotech. I don't know if a drug is going to be worth 50 million or 100 million or a billion. And neither do you, and neither does anybody. What I want to do is react to predictable news, predictable patterns that have worked time and again for 2 decades. That's what I do know, and that's what I'll be teaching. Also, adapt to the current market and adjust position sizes. Sometimes going long more in bull markets, as you've seen lately, the way that I've turned my 12,000 now into over 70,000, there aren't that many shorts. I try to short every now and then, and I get run over by this strong bull market. So I adapt. I will short sell more in bear markets. And in strong bull markets, I will also take bigger positions. So you can play with position size. You can play with how aggressive you are with longs or shorts. You can take more speculative ideas, as we'll get into. I'll try and help you understand what's more speculative versus not in the coming chapters. But trading is very much a sliding scale, and you'll understand that word a lot better soon. I know I'm giving lots of teasers, but you're not an investor. It's not one size fits all. You don't have to buy 1,000 shares every single time. Sometimes if you're not sure about a stock, you can buy 100 shares. If you're very sure, you can, buy 2,000 shares. Everything. And sometimes you don't even have to. I mean, if you're really unsure, you can just paper trade. Stocks to Trade has a new feature coming out where you'll be able to just basically play a fantasy stock market game where you won't necessarily learn as much and you won't earn anything because it won't be real money. But if you're scared to risk any of your actual hard-earned money, paper trading is a way to go. So don't feel uncomfortable ever. That's the beauty of what I teach and the way that I teach. You just have to study and you have to be adaptable. Traders are very adaptive and reactive people. So don't get too caught up in any one stock or any one strategy. Always be trading. Here's an example of what you can do just from anywhere. Here's my student Blake, and we were on this $12 million yacht for the TV show Below Deck. I don't know if you caught it. It was highly edited. I really come off pretty badly. But I was really happy with my trade that I made on the yacht, because even though we had bad Wi-Fi, I still made one of my biggest trades of the year, made roughly $70,000. I went big for the TV cameras, and it was kind of funny that the TV cameras didn't even show any of my trading. So you wonder when you watch my episode of Below Deck with 6 of my Trading Challenge students who I treated to this yacht trip for free, just because they're dedicated. I was really happy. And the cameras don't really explain why I'm really happy. You just think I'm like a sociopath, but I'm really happy because I made a really good trade and they didn't show it. But the good news is that my student Blake was using stocks to trade when he spotted the EKSO news, which we'll go over, and that led to 70,000 plus in profits, and I left over 100,000 on the table in the next hour. So I sold too soon, but when you're making roughly someone's yearly salary from a yacht with hardly any Wi-Fi, and this trade basically pays for your entire yacht trip. It's a good trade, and even though the show didn't show the trade at all, my students and I had a great time, and it was free. That's the good karma that I have for teaching, because the trade, which I went big on for the TV show, which didn't show it, that trade paid for the entire yacht trip for myself and all my students. So kind of a cool story. I like that. But here is a screenshot of stocks to trade. I'll have some links later on where you can see it in action. But again, I really think stocks to trade is going to be so crucial to your success. And my team and I are in charge, so we know what we're working with here. I'm not going to refer you out to another company that might slack on product development or customer service. So again, email admin@timothysykes.com for specials and mention this guide. But let's get into what makes a successful trader a little bit more. Before every potential trade, I review my indicators to make sure that it's a worthwhile setup. Now, as you'll hear me say, there's quite a few indicators, and sometimes you screw up and you miss one or two. But even if you forget one or two, I will never ever enter a trade based solely on my gut or any tip from anyone in this world. I've said this a few times, and I'm going to say it again because it's important. My indicators protect me from losses, and they increase my odds of success on every trade. That's the whole goal here. People ask me, what stock should I buy? What should I invest in? Invest in yourself. Invest in your own knowledge. Invest in something that can increase your odds of success on every trade forever. Rinse and repeat. Not just one trade, not just one investment. It's a process. It's a strategy. That's what you should invest in. Understand that my indicators are not perfect, and I myself, again, forget to check some of them. So this guide is actually going to serve as a reminder to me too. I say that 100% seriously. I was a little undisciplined a few weeks ago on one of my trades, and I took the middle of the day off to rewatch my Spikeability DVD, and I got more accustomed to the right patterns. And I've been on fire ever since. So I don't care how much money you make, I don't care how many years experience, it never hurts to review the basics. So this is going to be a very useful guide for me. Ideally, you review my trader checklist before every trade, because this can only help you. Review my trader checklist before every trade can only help you. Yeah, that sounds all right. And it'll get easier to understand, and you can internalize it all over time. So as we'll get into, I have some serious formulas where you're going to have to add up the indicators, and you're going to be like, I can just see the questions in my email inbox being, Tim, how do I get into a fast moving trade when you have all these indicators? Well, you'll get used to, understanding the indicators, and you'll be able to do it in your head over time. The indicators are actually an exact science. Stock trading and penny stock trading and teaching, they're very inexact, but that's the difference with this guide versus all my other guides. We're going to grade each and every stock and each and every setup specifically so that you have a complete understanding and a specific numerical value. So you can say this trade is worth, 77, or this trade is worth 30 out of 100. And we'll get into that. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm really excited. I have many guides detailing my trading process. This is my first to numerically value each trade setup, which I think makes it my most scientific approach yet. If you want to see penny stocking part 2, my penny stocking framework, Tim line, how to make millions, and spikeability for more info if you don't understand any one indicator. Those are all useful as background. And this guide is set up like William O'Neill's CanSlim strategy. William O'Neill is founder of Investors Business Daily. He also wrote a great book called How to Make Money in Stocks. And he has this whole CanSlim strategy if you read it or know of it. But do beware that that strategy hasn't really worked well the past few years. And Investors Business Daily actually recently stopped its daily newspaper. Now it's just weekly. So while it's in the same vein as CanSlim, I think that my strategy and my indicators are a little more relevant. I think too many people use CanSlim, so it basically stopped working. I think How to Make Millions sold a few million copies. That's why this is not going to be a book just yet. This is going to be a guide only, and out of all the people watching it, I'm guessing only 10% will even watch the whole guide. So I don't think we'll have any problem with too many people using these indicators. I've been shouting at the top of my lungs for nearly a decade, and only a few hundred people really are dedicated students. But I do hope that this strategy stops working. I know that's kind of a weird hope, but frankly, I'm overwhelmed by too many trades. I'm grateful for every trade, but I just want to sleep more, to tell you the truth. I want to sleep more. I want to travel more. I want to trade less. Um, I'm just overworked. I'm going to be totally honest with you. So I'm also making this guide to hopefully put these patterns out of business eventually, even though I doubt it that they ever will, but it's been a crazy few years. So this is me begging for some time off. But at the same time, I cannot help but trade these patterns. I literally feel guilty missing high probability profits when the indicators line up. To give you an example, I even missed my college graduation for a trade. And I made roughly one semester's worth of education on that day as my parents and my grandparents sat in the hot New Orleans sun. I went to Tulane University. Apparently, they called my name twice, but I wasn't there. And looking back, I probably should have gone. That's like a once in a lifetime experience. But at the same time, when these patterns line up and when these indicators line up, I am beholden to them. Because again, I don't know which ones are necessarily going to work. This doesn't work 100% of the time. But when they're really good indicators, the odds are 60, 70, 75, sometimes even 80% likelihood of a profit. And I just don't know how to ignore that. I really don't. So that's my gift and curse. My gift to you are these indicators, and the curse that I place on you is that you're gonna be busy with these, and you have to try and control them, because you might miss some important stuff. Like I missed so many like birthday parties and family events. This has really consumed my life, and so teaching now is nice, because now several of my Millionaire Trading Challenge students are helping me teach and taking some of the workload off of me. So even if I miss a trade, at least one of my students or several of my students have profited from it. So I feel a little less guilty. But you'll see with some of these setups. I mean, it's perfect. It's like someone just throwing you a softball and you just have to, you're up at bat and you just have to crank it because you have just been given this gift. So that's what I'm about to teach you.
My name is Tim Sykes, and I teach people to trade stocks. I am a self-made multimillionaire.
So this is the ideal trade that I'm going to talk about. I want you guys to understand every single aspect of this trade.